Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. We are from Group 4. We will present about rule and regulation of basketball based on FIBA official basketball rule. This is our group member, Husna Biha, me, Siti Nur Aisyah, Rizman Shakif, Nur Amira, Ridivia and Nur Aina Fitriha. Table of content, we have 8 rules listed by FIBA. I will present rule number 1 until 3 and the others other group member will present it. Rule 1. The game. Basketball game. Play by 2 teams. 5 players each team. Each team needs to score in the opponent basket and prevent the other team from scoring. Basket for opponent or own. Opponent basket that is attacked by a team while own basket is defended by a team. Winner of the game is chosen based on the team that has scored the greatest number of game points at the end of the playing game. Rule 2. Playing court and equipment. This is full size of basketball playing court. I will give brief explanation about the court. Playing court should have a flat and hard surface free from obstruction. The dimension of the court is 20 meter length and 50 meter width. Backcourt consists of team-owned basket, the inbound part of the backboard and that part of the playing court. Front court consists of the opponent basket, the inbound part of the backboard and that part of playing court. Lines. All lines of the court should be the same color and drawn in white or other contrasting color 5 cm in width and clear visible. Boundary line consisting of the end line and the side line. Any obstruction shall be at least 2 meters away from the playing court. Center line, center circle and free throw semicircle. Center line should be marked parallel to the end line from the midpoint of the side line. Center circle should be marked in the center of the playing court and have a radius of 1.80 meter. Free throw semicircle should be marked on the playing court with a radius of 1.80 meter centered at the midpoint of the free throw line. Free throw line, restricted area and free throw rebound place. Free throw line should be drawn parallel to its end line. Its midpoint should lie on the imaginary line joining the midpoint of the two end lines. Restricted area should be at the rectangular area marked on the playing court. The line originates at the end line from the midpoint of the end line and terminating at the edge of the extended free throw line. Free throw rebound placed along the restricted area reserved for the player during free throw. 3-point field goal area should be the entire floor area of the playing court except for the area near the opponent basket. The 3-point line is not part of the 3-point field goal area. Team bench area should be marked outside the playing court limited by 2 lines. Must be 16 seats available in each team bench area. Any other person should be at least 2 meters behind the team bench. Throw-in line. The 2 lines marked outside the playing court at the sideline opposite the scorer table. No touch semicircle area. Semicircle measure from the point of the floor beneath the exact center of the basket. Join to 2 parallel lines perpendicular to the end line, complete by imaginary line joining at the end of the parallel lines. No touch semicircle line are part of the no touch semicircle area. At left is 2-point or 3-point field goal area, while at right restricted area. We move to the equipment of basketball. First, we have backstop unit consists of backboard, basket comprising backboard support structure including padding, basketball, game clock, scoreboard, shot clock, stopwatch for timing times outs, distinctly different and loud signal for shot clock operator and score table, score sheet, player phone marker, team phone marker, alternating position arrow, playing floor, playing court, and lastly, adequate lighting. Rule number 3, teams. A team member are eligible to play when he has been authorized to play for a team. Next team member is entitled to play when his name has been entered on the score sheet before the beginning of the game. Lastly, all team members entitled to play are considered as players. Rule for each team. Each team shall consist not more than 12 team members entitled to play, including a captain, a head coach, a maximum of accompanying eligible number, including a maximum of 2 assistant coaches who may sit on the team bench. 5 team members from each team shall be on the playing court. Uniform for basketball. Shirt and shorts must have same dominant color front and back. Next, all players must tuck in their shirt into their playing shorts. T-shirts, regardless of the style, are not permitted to be worn under the shirt. Socks need to be visible and have same dominant color for all team members. Each team member should wear numbered T-shirt on the front and back with plain number which color contrasting with the color of the shirt. Team must have minimum of 2 sets of shirts. For home team shall wear light color shirt and for visitor team shall wear dark color shirt. Other equipment. All equipment used by the player must be appropriate for the game. Equipment that is designed to increase player height or reach or in any other way give an unfair is permitted. Players should not wear equipment that may cause injury to other players. All players on the team must have all their arm and leg compression sleeves, headgear, wristband and headband and taping of the same solid color. During the game, players may wear shoes of any color combination but the left and right shoes must match. During the game, a player may not display any commercial promotion or creative name, mark, logo or other identification. Players injury. The official may stop the game if the player is injured. Head coach, assistant coach, substitute or any members can enter the court only with the permission of an official to attend the injured player. If the injured player cannot continue to play immediately, approximately 15 seconds, he must be substituted. Player who is bleeding or has an open wound must be substituted. A doctor may enter the playing court without the permission of an official if the injured player requires immediate medical treatment. Head coach and first assistant coach duties and power. 40 minutes before the game, head coach shall give the scorer a list with the name of the team members who are eligible to play in the game, including the name of the captain, the head coach, and the first assistant coach. 10 minutes before the game begins, each head coach shall confirm his agreement by signing the score sheet. The head coach will indicate the 5 players to begin the game. The head coach may go to the score table during the game to obtain the statistical information. The head coach is permitted to remain standing during the game. The coach may communicate in a courteous manner with the official during the game to obtain information. That's all from me.
Good day everyone. I'm Divya Devi from Group 4 and next I'm going to present about Rule 4, which is playing regulations. First, playing time, tight score and overtime. The game shall consist of 4 quarters of 10 minutes each. There shall be an interval of playing of 20 minutes before the game is scheduled to begin. There shall be the intervals of play of 2 minutes between the first and second quarter, first half, between the third and fourth quarter, second half, and before each overtime. There shall be a half-time interval of play of 15 minutes. An interval of play begins and another one is an interval of play ends. An interval of play begins is 20 minutes before the game is scheduled to begin, when the game clock signals sound for the end of the quarter or overtimes. Another one is an interval of play ends at the beginning of the first quarter when the ball leaves the hands of the crew chief on the toes for the jump ball, at the beginning of all other quarters and overtimes when the ball is at the disposal of the player taking the throwing. If the score is tied at the end of the fourth quarter, the game shall continue with as many overtimes of 5-minute duration each as necessary to break tie. Next, beginning and end of a quarter, overtime, or the game. The first quarter begins when the ball leaves the ends of the crew chief on the toast for the jump ball in the center circle. All other quarters or overtime begin when the ball is at the disposal of the player taking the throwing. The game cannot begin if one of the teams is not on the playing court with 5 players ready to play. For all games, the first team named in the schedule, home team, shall have the team bench and its own basket on the left side of the scorer's table, facing the playing court. A quarter, overtime, or game shall end when the game clock signals sound for the end of the quarter or overtime. When the backboard is occupied with red lightning around its perimeter, the lightning takes precedence over the game clock signal sound. Next, status of the ball. The ball becomes live when, during the jump ball, the ball leaves the hands of the crew chief on the toast. During a free throw, the ball is at the disposal of the free throw shooter. During a throw-in, the ball is at the disposal of the player taking the throw-in. The ball becomes dead when any field goal or free throw is made. A referee blows his whistle while the ball is live. It is apparent that the ball will not enter the basket on a free throw, which is to be followed by another free throws, a further penalty free throws, and or possessions. The game clock signal sounds for of the quarter or overtime. The shot clock signal sounds while a team is in control of the ball. Next, location of a player and a referee. The location of a player is determined by where he is touching the floor. While he is airborne, he retains the same status he had when he last touched the floor. This includes the boundary line, the center line, the three-point line, the free throw line, the line delimiting the restricted area, and the lines delimiting the no-charge semicircle area. The location of a referee is determined in the same manner as that of a player. When the ball touches a referee, it is the same as touching the floor at the referee's location. Next is the jump ball and alternating position. Jump ball definition. A jump ball occurs when a referee tosses the ball between any two opponents. A helped ball occurs when one or more players from opposing teams have one or both hands firmly on the ball so that neither player can gain control without any undue roughness. Jump ball procedure. Each jumper shall stand with both feet inside the half of the center circle nearest to his own basket with 1 foot close to the center line. Teammates may not occupy adjacent positions around the circle if an opponent wishes to occupy one of those positions. Next, jump ball situations. A jump ball situation occurs when a helped ball is called. The ball goes out of bounds and the referees are in the doubt or disagree about which of the opponents last touched the ball. A double free throw violence occurs during an unsuccessful last free throw. Alternating position definition. Alternating position is a method of causing the ball to become live with a throw in rather than a jump ball. Alternative position procedures. In all jump situations, teams shall alternate position of the ball for a throw in from the place nearest to where the jump ball situations occurs, as set directly behind the backboard. Next, how the ball is played. Definition. During the game, the ball is played with the hands only and may be passed, thrown, tapped, rolled, or dimpled in any direction, subject to the restrictions of these rules. Rule. A player shall not run with the ball, deliberately kick or block it with any part of the leg or strike it with the fist. To accidentally come into contact with or touch the ball with any part of the leg is not a violation. Next, control of the ball. Definition. Team control starts when a player that team is in control of live ball by holding or dribbling it or as a live ball at its disposal. Another one is player in the act of shooting. Definition. A shot for a field goal or a free throw is when the ball is tapped in a player's hand and is then thrown into the air towards the opponent's basket. A tap for a field goal is when the ball is directed with the hands towards the opponent's basket. A dunk for a field goal is when the ball is forced downwards into the opponent's basket with one or both hands. Next is a goal when made and its value. Definition: a goal is made when a leaf ball enters the basket from above and remains within or passes through the basket entirely. The ball is considered to be within the basket when the slightest part of the ball is within the basket and below the level of the rim. Next is throw-in. The definition is: a throw-in occurs when the ball is passed into the playing court by the out-of-bounds player taking the throw-in. Next, timeout. Definition: a timeout is an interpretation of the game requested by the head coach or first assistant coach. Next is substitutions. Definition: a substitution is an interruption of the game requested by the substitute to become a player. Game lost. And next is game lost by forfeit. Rule: a team shall lose the game by forfeit if the team is not present or is unable to field 5 players ready to play 15 minutes after the game is scheduled to begin. Its actions prevent the game from being played. It refuses to play after being instructed to do so by the crew chief. Next is game lost by default. Rule: a team shall lose a game by default if during the game the team has fewer than 2 players on the playing court ready to play. Penalty: if the team to which the game is awarded is ahead, the score shall stand as at the time when the game was stopped. If the team to which the game is awarded is not ahead, the score shall be 2-0 in its favor. The defaulting team shall receive 1 classification point. For a 2 games home and away total point series aggregate score, the team that defaults in the first or in the second game shall lose the series by default. That's all. Thank you.
Rule 5 Violation. R22 Violation. Definition: a violation is an infraction of the rules, the action of violating someone or something. The penalty: the ball will be given to the opponents for a throw-in from the place nearest to the infraction, except directly behind the backboard unless otherwise stated in this rule. 23. Player out of bounds, ball out of bounds. Player out of bounds means that any part of the player's body is in contact with the floor or any object other than player above, on or outside the boundary line. Ball out of bounds means when the ball touches first the other player who is out of bounds, 2. The floor or any object above, on or outside the boundary line. The last one is the backboard supports, the back of the backboard or any object above the playing court. The first rule: the ball is caused to go out of bounds by the last player to touch or be touched by the ball before it goes out of bounds, even if the ball then goes out of bounds by touching something other than player. Second, if the ball is out of the bounds because of touching or being touched by a player who is on or outside the boundary line, this player caused the ball to go out of bounds. Third, if a player moves to out of bounds or to his back court during a held ball, a jump ball situation occurs. Dribbling. What is dribbling? Dribbling is the movement when a player takes the ball forward past opponents with slight touches, such as throws, taps, rolls, or continuous bounces the ball on the floor. A dribble starts when a player has the ball on the playing court, throws, taps, rolls, or bounces it on the floor and touches it again before it touches another player. A dribble ends when the player touches the ball with both hands simultaneously or permits the ball to come to rest in one or both hands. During a dribble, the ball may be thrown into the air provided the ball touches the floor or another player before the player who threw it touches it again with his hand. There is no limit to the number of steps a player may take when the ball is not in contact with his hand. The rule for dribbling. A player should not dribble for a second time after his first dribble has ended unless between the two dribbles he has lost control of a live ball on the playing court because of first, a shoot for a field goal, second, a touch of the ball by an opponent, the last one, a pass or fumble that has touched or been touched by another player. 25. Traveling. Traveling is the illegal movement of one foot or both feet beyond the limits outlined in this article, in any direction, while holding a live ball on the playing court. A pivot is the legal movement in which a player who is holding a live ball on the playing court steps once or more than once in any direction with the same foot, while the other foot, called the pivot foot, is kept at its point of contact with the floor. First rule. A player who catches the ball while standing with both feet on the floor, the moment one foot is lifted, the other foot becomes the pivot foot. To start a dribble, the pivot foot may not be lifted before the ball is released from the hand. To pass or shoot for a field goal, the player may jump off a pivot foot, but neither foot may be returned to the floor before the ball is released from the hand. Second rule. A player who catches the ball while he is progressing or upon completion of a dribble may take two steps in coming to a stop, passing, or shooting the ball. If, after receiving the ball, a player shall release the ball to start his dribble before his second step. The first step occurs when one foot or both feet touch the floor after gaining control of the ball. The second step occurs after the first step when the other foot touches the floor or both feet touch the floor simultaneously. If the player who comes to a stop on his first step has both feet on the floor or they touch the floor simultaneously, he may pivot using either foot as his pivot foot. If he then jumps with both feet, no foot may return the floor before the ball is released from the hand. If a player lands with one foot, he may only pivot using the foot. If a player jumps off one foot on the first step, he may land with both feet simultaneously for the second step. In this situation, the player may not pivot with either foot. If one foot or both feet then leave the floor, no foot may return to the floor before the ball is released from the hand. If both feet are off the floor and the player lands on both feet simultaneously, the moment one foot is lifted, the other foot becomes the pivot foot. A player may not touch the floor consecutively with the same foot or both feet after ending his dribble or gaining control of the ball. 3 seconds. The rule. A player shall not remain in the opponent's restricted area for more than 3 consecutive seconds while his team is in control of a live ball in the front court and the game clock is running. Allowances must be made for a player who, first, makes an attempt to leave the restricted area, is in the restricted area when he or his teammate is in the act of shooting and the ball is leaving or has just left the player's hand on the shoot for a field goal. Dribbles in the restricted area to shoot for a field goal after having been there for less than 3 consecutive seconds. To establish himself outside the restricted area, the player must place both feet on the floor outside the restricted area. Closely guarded player. What is closely guarded player? A player who is holding a live ball on the playing court is closely cut when an opponent is in an active legal guarding position at a distance of no more than 1 meter. The rule: a closely cut player must pass, shoot or dribble the ball within 5 seconds. 8 seconds. The rule: whenever a player in the backcourt gains control of a live ball or on a throw-in, the ball touches or is legally touched by any player in the backcourt and the team of that player taking the throw-in remains in control of the ball in its backcourt, that team must cause the ball to go into its front court within 8 seconds. The team has caused the ball to go into its front court whenever the ball not in control of any player touches the front court. The ball touched or is legally touched by an offensive player who has both feet completely in contact with his front court. The ball touched or is legally touched by a defensive player who has part of his body in contact with his backcourt. The ball touched an official who has part of his body in contact with the front court of the team in control of the ball. During a dribble from the back court to the front court, the ball and both feet of the dribble are completely in contact with the front court. The 8-second period shall continue with any time remaining when the same team that previously had control of the ball is award a throw-in the backcourt as a result of a ball having gone out of bounds, a player of the same team having been injured, a technical foul committed by the team, a jump ball situation, a double foul, a cancellation of equal penalties on both teams. 24 seconds. The rule: whenever a player gains control of a live ball on the playing court, on a throw-in, the ball touched or is legally touched by any player on the playing court and the team of that player taking the throw-in remain in control of the ball. That team must attempt a shoot for a field goal within 24 seconds. To constitute a shoot for a field goal for 24 seconds, the ball must leave the player's hand before the shoot clock signal sounds, and after the ball has left the player's hands, the ball must touch the ring or enter the basket. When a shoot for a field goal is attempted near the end of the 24-second period and the shoot clock signal sounds when the ball is in the air, if the ball enters the basket, no violation has occurred. The signal should be disregarded and the goal shot count. If the ball touches the ring but doesn't enter the basket, no violation has occurred. The signal shall be disregarded and the game shall continue. If the ball misses the ring, a violation has occurred. However, if the opponents gain an immediate and clear control of the ball, the signal shall be disregarded and the game shall continue. When the backboard is equipped with yellow lighting along its perimeter at the top, the lighting takes precedence over the shoot clock signal sound. Ball returned to the backcourt. Definition: a team is in control of a live ball in its front court when a. A player of the team is touching his front court with both feet while holding, catching, or dribbling the ball in his front court, or b. The ball is passed between the players of the team in his front court. A team in control of a live ball in the front court has caused the ball to be illegally returned to its backcourt. If a player of the team is the last to touch the ball in his front court, and the ball is then first touched by a player of that team, who has part of his body in contact with the backcourt or after the ball has touched the backcourt of the team. This restriction applies to all situations in a team front court, including throw-ins. However, it does not apply to a player who jumps from his front court, establish a new team control while still airborne, and then lands with the ball in his team backcourt. The rule: a team which is in control of a live ball in its front court may not cause the ball to be illegally returned to its backcourt. The penalty: the ball shall be awarded to the opponent's team for a throw-in its front court from the place nearest to the infraction except directly behind the backboard. Goaltending and interference. Definition: a shoot for a field goal or a free throw begins when the ball leaves the hands of a player in the act of shooting, ends when the ball enters the basket directly from above and remains with the basket or passes through the basket entirely. No longer has the possibility to enter the basket, touch the rim, touch the floor, becomes dead. Rule: goaltending occurs during a shoot for a field goal when a player touches the ball while it is completely above the level of the ring and it is on its downward flight to the basket, or after it has touched the backboard. Goaltending occurs during a shoot for a free throw when a player touches the ball while it is in flight to the basket and before it touches the ring. The goaltending restrictions apply until the ball no longer has the possibility to enter the basket, the ball has touched the ring. Meanwhile, interference occurs when: first, after a shoot for a field goal or the last free throw, a player touches the basket or the backboard while the ball is in contact with the ring. Second, after a free throw followed by an additional free throw, a player touches the basket, or the backboard while there is still a possibility that the ball will enter the basket. Third, a player reaches through the basket from below and touches the ball. A defensive player touches the ball or the basket while the ball is within the basket, thus preventing the ball from passing through the basket. A player causes the basket to vibrate or grabs the basket in such a way that, in the judgment of a referee, the ball has been prevented from entering the basket or has been caught to enter the basket. The last one is a player grabs the basket and plays the ball.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Rizman Shakif bin Rohaizat. Today I will present about the Rule 6, which is foul. Firstly, Art 32 fouls. A foul is an infraction of the rules concerning illegal personal contact with an opponent and/or unsportsmanlike behavior. Any number of fouls may be called on a team. Irrespective of the penalty, each foul should be charged, entered on the screen-sheet on the offender, and penalized according to these rules. Next is Art 33 Contact General Principle. In Contact General Principle, we have principle of verticality, legal guarding position, guarding a player who controls the ball, guarding a player who does not control the ball, a player who's in the air, screening legal and illegal, charging, blocking, no charge semicircle areas, contacting an opponent with the hands and/or arms, post play, illegal guarding from the rear, holding, pushing, and fake being fouled. Art 34 Personal foul. A personal foul is a player's illegal contact with an opponent, whether the ball is live or dead. A player shall not hold, block, push, charge, trip or impede the progress of an opponent by extending his hand, arm, elbow, shoulder, hip, leg, knee or foot, nor by bending his body into an abnormal position which is outside his cylinder, nor shall he indulge in any rough or violent play. The penalty is a personal foul shall be charged on the offender. Next is Art 35, double foul. A double foul is a situation in which two opponents commit personal or unsportsmanlike disqualifying fouls on each other at approximately the same time. The penalty is a personal or unsportsmanlike disqualifying foul shall be charged on each offender. Art 36 is technical foul. A technical foul is a player non-contact foul of a behavioral nature including, but not limited to, disregarding warnings given by referees, using language or gestures likely to offend or incite the spectators, baiting and taunting an opponent. The penalty is if a technical foul is committed by a player, a technical foul shall be charged on him as a player foul and shall count as one of the team foul. By any person permitted to sit on the team bench, a technical foul shall be charged on the head coach and shall not count as one of the team fouls. Art 37, unsportsmanlike foul. An unsportsmanlike foul is a player contact which, in the judgment of a referee, is contact with an opponent and not legitimately attempting to directly play the ball within the spirit and intent of the rules. Excessive hard contact caused by a player in an effort to play the ball or an opponent. And unnecessary contact caused by the defensive player in order to stop the progress of the offensive team in transition. This applies until the offensive player begins his act of shooting. The penalty is an unsportsmanlike foul shall be charged on the offender. Free throws shall be awarded to the player who was fouled, followed by a throw-in from the throw-in line in the team's front court, a jump ball in the center circle at the beginning of the first quarter. Next is Art 38, disqualifying foul. A disqualifying foul is any flagrant, unsportsmanlike action by players, substitute, head coaches, assistant coaches, excluded players, and accompanying delegation members. Violence. Acts of violence may occur during the game, contrary to the spirit of sportsmanship and fair play. This should be stopped immediately by the referees and, if necessary, by public order enforcement officers. The penalty is a disqualifying foul shall be charged on the offender. Whenever the offender is disqualified according to the respective articles of these rules, he shall go to and remain in his team's dressing room for the duration of the game, or, if he so wishes, he shall leave the building. And the last is Art 39, fighting. Fighting is physical interaction between two or more opponents, which is players, substitutes, head coaches, assistant coaches, excluded players, and accompanying delegation members. Substitutes, excluded players, or accompanying delegation members who leave the team bench area during a fight or during any situation which may lead to a fight shall be disqualified, irrespective of the number of persons disqualified for leaving the team bench area. A single technical foul shall be charged on the head coach. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. Under Rule 7, we have 4 types, which is Art 40, Art 41, Art 42, and the last one is Art 43. Okay, firstly is Art 40, which is 5 fouls by player. A player who has committed 5 fouls should be informed by an official and must leave the game immediately and substituted within 30 seconds. And a foul by a player who has previously committed 5 fouls is considered as an excluded player's foul, and it is charged and entered on the score sheet on the head coach. Okay, next is Art 41, which is team fouls in bracket penalty. Okay, before that, I want to ask, do you guys know what is team foul? Okay, a team foul is a personal, technical, unsportsmanlike, or disqualifying foul committed by a player. A team is in the team foul penalty situation after it has committed 4 team fouls in a quarter, and all team fouls committed in an interval of play should be considered as being committed in the following quarter over time. Okay, now I will go further into rules. Okay, when a team is in the team foul penalty situation, all following player personal fouls committed on a player not in the act of shooting shall be penalized by 2 free throws. Instead of a throw-in, the player on whom the foul was committed should attempt the free throws. If a personal foul is committed by a player of the team in control of the live ball or of the team entitled to the ball, such a foul should be penalized by a throw-in for the opponent. Okay, next is Part 42, which is special situation. Okay, what is special situation? Okay, special situation is in the same stop clock period which follows an infraction. Special situation may arise when additional infractions are committed. Okay, next, under Art 42, we have procedure. First, all fouls should be charged and all penalties identified, and the order in which all infractions occur should be determined. Then, all equal penalties on the teams and all double foul penalties should be cancelled. When the penalties have been entered on the score sheet and cancelled, they are considered as never having occurred. If a technical foul is called, that penalty should be administered first. The order of the penalty has been determined, or whether the administration of the penalties have been started. If the technical foul is called on the head coach for a disqualification of a first assistant coach, substitute, excluded player, and accompanying delegation member, that penalty should not be administered first. It shall be administered in the order in which all fouls and violations have occurred, unless they were cancelled. The right to possession of the ball as part of the last penalty to be administered should cancel any prior right to possession of the ball. Okay, next is Art 43, which is free throws. What is free throw? A free throw is an opportunity given to a player to score 1 point, uncontested, from a position behind the free throw line and inside the semicircle. A set of free throw is defined as all free throw and possible following possession of the ball resulting from a single foul penalty. Okay, next is rules. Okay, first, when a personal and unsportsmanlike or a disqualifying contact foul is called, the free throw should be awarded as follows. First, the player on whom the foul was committed should attempt the free throw, and if there is a request for him to be substituted, he must attempt the free throw before leaving the game. And if he must leave the game due to injury, having committed 5 fouls, or having been disqualified, his substitute should attempt the free throw. If no substitute is available, any teammate as designated by his head coach should attempt the free throw. The second rule is, when a technical or disqualifying non-contact foul is called, any members of the opponent team as designated by his head coach should attempt the free throw. Okay, take a position behind the free throw line and inside the semicircle. Use any method to shoot a free throw in such a way that the ball enters the basket from above or the ball touches the ring. Release the ball within 5 seconds after it is placed at his disposal by the official. Not touch the free throw line or enter the restricted area until the ball has entered the basket or has touched the ring. Third, the players in the free throw rebound places should be entitled to occupy alternating position in these spaces, which are considered to be 1 meter in depth. Refer diagram 6. During the free throws, these players should not first occupy free throw rebound places to which they are not entitled, enter the restricted area, that neutral zone, or leave the free throw rebound place until the ball has left the hand of the free throw shooter. Lastly is distract the free throw shooter by their action. Okay, this is diagram 6. We already explained in the slide before. Okay, next, players not in the free throw rebound places should remain behind the free throw line, extended and behind the 3-point field goal line until the free throw ends. During a free throw, to be followed by another set of free throw or by a throw-in, all players should remain behind the free throw line, extended and behind the 3-point field goal line. Okay, the last one is penalty. If a free throw is successful and the violation is committed by the free throw shooter, the point not count. The ball shall be awarded to the opponent for a throw-in from the free throw line extended. If a free throw is successful and the violation is committed by any player other than the free throw shooter, the point shall count. The violation should be disregarded. In case of the last free throw, the ball should be awarded to the opponent for a throw-in from any place behind that team's end line. If a free throw is not successful and the violation is committed by a free throw shooter or his teammate on the last free throw, the ball should be awarded to the opponent for a throw-in from the free throw line extended unless that the team is entitled to further possession. An opponent of the free throw shooter, a substitute free throw shooter be awarded to the free throw shooter. Both teams on the last free throw, a jump ball situation occurred.
So next rule is rule 8, which is official, table official, and commissioner, which is their duties and power. The first one is official, table official, and commissioner. The official shall be a crew chief and 1 or 2 umpire. They shall be assisted by the table official and by a commissioner if present. The table officials shall be a scorer, an assistant scorer, a timer, and a shot clock operator. Next, the commissioner shall sit between the scorer and the timer. His primary duty during the game is to supervise the work of the table official and to assist the crew chief and umpire in the smooth functioning of the game. The official of a given game should not be connected in any way with either team on the playing court. The table officials, and the commissioner shall conduct the game in accordance with these rules and have no authority to change them. The last one is the official and the table. The table official shall be uniformly dressed. So next is the duties and powers of crew chief. The crew chief shall inspect and approve all equipment to be used during the game, designate the official game clock, shot clock, stopwatch, and recognize the table officials. Then select a game ball from at least 2 used balls provided by the home team. Should neither of these balls be suitable as the game ball, he may select the best quality ball available. Not permit any player to wear objects that may cause injury to other players. Administer a jump ball to begin the first quarter and a alternating possession throwing to begin all other quarters and overtimes. Have the power to stop a game when conditions warrant it, and have the power to determine that a team shall forfeit the game. Carefully examine the score sheet at the end of playing time or at any time he feels is necessary. And then approve and sign the score sheet at the end of playing time, terminating the official administration and connection with the game. The officials' power shall begin when they arrive on the playing court 20 minutes before the game is scheduled to begin and end when the game clock signal sounds for the end of the game, as approved by the officials. Crew shall make the final decision whenever necessary or when the official disagree. To make final decision, he may consult the umpire. the commissioner if present, and or the table official. Be authorized to approve before the game and use if available. An instant reply system, which is IRS, to decide before he signs the score sheet. After being notified by the timer, shall blow his whistle before the first and third quarter when 3 minutes and 1.5 minutes remain until the beginning of the quarter. The cruise ship shall also blow his whistle before the second and fourth quarter and each overtime, when 30 seconds remain until the beginning of the quarter and overtimes. Have the power to make decision on any point not specifically covered by these rules. The next is duties and power of official. The official shall have the power to make decision on infraction of the rules committed either within or outside the boundary line, including the scorer table, the team bench, and the area immediately behind the line. The official shall blow their whistle when an infraction of the rule occur. A quarter or overtime and or the official find it necessary to stop the game. The official shall not blow their whistle after a successful field goal, a successful free throw, or when the ball becomes live. Should a protest be filed by one of the team, the cruise chief, which is commissioner if present, shall, upon receipt of the protest reason, report in writing the incident to the organizing body of the competition. For all international games, if verbal communication is necessary to make a decision clear, it shall be conducted in the English language. Each official has the power to make decisions within the limits of his duties, but he has no authority to disregard of question decision made by the other official. The implementation and interpretation of the official basket rules by the official, regardless if an explicit decision was made or not, is final and cannot be contested or disregarded except in case where a protest is allowed. Next is about duties of scorer and assistant scorer. The scorer shall be provided with a score sheet and shall keep a record of things by entering the name and number of the player who are to begin the game and of all substitutes who enter the game. The scorer shall also indicate the number of fouls committed by each player by rising in a manner visible to both head coaches. The marker with the number of fouls committed by that player. The assistant scorer shall operate the scoreboard and assist the scorer in case of any discrepancy between the scoreboard and the score sheet which cannot be resolved. The score sheet shall take precedence and the scoreboard shall be corrected accordingly. If a scorekeeping error is recognized on the score sheet during the game, the scorer must wait for the first dead ball before sounding his signal. After the end of the playing time and before the score sheet has been signed by the crew chief, the error shall be corrected, even if this correction influences the final result of the game. After the score sheet has been signed by the crew chief, the error may no longer corrected. The crew chief or the commissioner, if present, shall send a detailed report to the organizing body of the competition. Next is duties of timer. The timer shall be provided with a game clock and a stopwatch and shall measure playing time, timeouts, and intervals of play. The timer shall measure playing time as follows, starting the game clock and stopping the game clock. The timer shall measure a timeout as follows. First is starting the stopwatch immediately when the official blow his whistle and give the timeout signal. Sounding his signal when 50 seconds of the timeout have elapsed. And the last one is sounding his signal when the timeout has ended. The timer shall measure an interval of play as follows. First one is starting the stopwatch immediately when a previous quarter or overtime has ended, notifying the official before the first and third quarter when 3 minutes and 1.5 minutes remain until the beginning of the quarter. Sounding his signal before the second and fourth quarter and each overtime when 30 seconds remain until the beginning of the quarter or overtime. Sounding his signal and simultaneously stopping the stopwatch immediately when an interval of play has ended. And the last one from this rule is duties of short clock operator. The short clock operator shall be provided with a short clock which shall be started or restarted when on the playing court a team gains control of a live ball. After that, they will touching of the ball by an opponent does not start a new shot clock period if the same team remains in control of the ball. On a throwing, the ball touched or illegally touched by any player on the playing court. Then stop but not reset with the remaining time visible when the same team that previously had control of the ball is awarded a throw-in as the result of the first one is a ball having gone out of bounds. Second is a player of the same team having been injured. Third, technical foul committed by that team. A jump ball situation, a double foul, and the last one is a cancellation of equal penalties on both teams. Next is stop and reset to 24 seconds with no display visible when the ball legally enters the basket. The ball touched the ring of the opponent's basket and it is controlled by the team that was not in control of the ball before it has touched the ring. And the last one is the team is awarded a backcourt throw-in as the result of a foul or violation. So next is stop and reset to 14 seconds with 14 seconds visible when the same team that previously had control of the ball is awarded a front court throw-in and 13 seconds of less are displayed on the shot clock. The team that previously did not have the control of the ball shall be awarded a front court throw-in as a result of a personal fault or violation, which is including for the ball having gone out of bounds. Next is jump ball situation. A team shall be awarded a throw-in from the throw-in line in its front court as a result of an unsportsmanlike or disqualified foul after the ball has touched the ring on an unsuccessful shot for a field goal, and successful last free throw on or on a pass if the team which regains control of the ball is the same team that was in control of the ball before the ball touched the ring. And the last one is switch off after the ball become dead and the game clock has been stopped in any quarter of overtime when there is a new control of the ball for either team and they are fewer than 40 seconds on the game clock. The shot clock signal neither stop the game clock or the game, not cause the ball to become dead unless a team is in control of the ball. So that's all from our group. Thank you.